Imaging finding a rare coin so rare it could pay off your house today, we're diving into 10 of the most valuable US coins ever found. Real coins worth hundreds and even millions of dollars or more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the next rare find. Let's start this.
But what if I told you that a 1998 Lincoln 1-cent penny with no mint mark could be the hidden treasure sitting quietly in your home right now? Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating modern coins in American circulation history, the 1998 no mint mark Lincoln cent from the United States of America. This isn't just another penny. Under the right conditions, with the right characteristics, it can be worth far more than 1 cent. And if you're serious about turning old coins into real money, this is a date you absolutely need to understand. Let's begin with the basics. The 1998 Lincoln cent features the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. This design, first introduced in 1909 to honor Lincoln's 100th birthday, remains one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. The reverse of the 1998 penny still carries the classic Lincoln Memorial design, which was used from 1959 through 2008. If you look closely at the reverse, you can even see a tiny depiction of the Lincoln statue inside the memorial, a detail many people miss. Now here's where things get interesting. When we talk about a 1998 penny with no mint mark, we are typically referring to a coin struck at the Philadelphia Mint. During that time, pennies produced in Philadelphia did not carry a P mint mark. So the absence of a mint mark does not mean it's an error by itself. Millions upon millions of these coins were struck for circulation. So why would any of them be valuable? The answer lies in condition and errors. In 1998, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 5 billion Lincoln cents. That's a massive number. Most of these coins are still worth just face value because they were heavily circulated. But the coins that were preserved in exceptional condition, especially those graded at the very top of the scale, are an entirely different story. Coin grading is critical. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC evaluate coins on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS67, MS68, or even higher represents an example with almost flawless surfaces, strong luster, and minimal imperfections. These top population coins are rare not because they were scarce at mintage, but because so few survived in pristine condition. Think about it. A coin released into circulation in 1998 would have been handled thousands of times. It would have been stacked in banks, transported in bags, rolled in paper, and exchanged in daily transactions. Every tiny scratch, nick, or abrasion reduces its grade. So finding one that looks nearly perfect decades later is incredibly difficult, but that's not the only factor driving value. The 1998 Lincoln cent is part of a famous trio among collectors known for a specific die variety, the wide AM variety. Normally, on Lincoln Memorial cents from the late 1990s, the letters A and M in the word America on the reverse are very close together. However, on certain 1998 pennies, a proof reverse die was accidentally used for circulation strikes. This resulted in a noticeable gap between the A and the M, what collectors call the wide AM variety. This small spacing difference might seem insignificant to the untrained eye. But to collectors, it can mean the difference between a 1-cent coin and a coin worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on condition. To check your 1998 no mint mark penny for the wide AM variety, look at the reverse. Focus on the word America. If the A and M are clearly separated and not nearly touching, you may have something special. Also examine the FG initials of designer Frank Gasparo near the base of the memorial. On the wide AM variety, the placement and spacing can show subtle differences compared to the regular strike. Now imagine finding one of these coins in high mint state condition, brilliant red surfaces, no wear, strong strike, and the desirable wide AM variety. That combination dramatically increases its desirability. Another factor that can increase value is the coin's color designation. Copper-plated zinc cents like those from 1998 are often categorized as red, red-brown, or brown. Fully red examples, meaning they retain nearly all of their original mint luster and color, are the most desirable. Over time, exposure to air and handling causes the bright red color to fade into brown. So a bright red 1998 penny after all these years is far scarcer than you might think. Errors also play a major role in potential value. While most 1998 pennies were struck correctly, there are known error coins including off-center strikes, double strikes, die cracks, and other minting anomalies. Even a small off-center strike can increase the value significantly. A dramatic error with a clear date and strong eye appeal can push the coin into a completely different price category. Here's the key lesson: value is not just about age. Many people assume that only very old coins are valuable. That's simply not true. Modern coins in extraordinary condition or with rare die varieties can outperform older coins in worn condition. So what should you do if you think you found a high-quality 1998 no mint mark penny? First, handle it carefully. Hold it by the edges. Avoid cleaning it under any circumstances. Cleaning can destroy the surface and dramatically reduce its value. Many beginners make the mistake of polishing coins to make them shiny. This is one of the fastest ways to turn a potentially valuable coin into a damaged one. Second, compare it closely with verified images of the wide AM variety. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Even a smartphone with zoom can help you inspect the spacing of the letters. Third, consider professional grading if the coin appears flawless and matches known valuable varieties. The cost of grading can be worthwhile if your coin truly sits at the top of the population scale. The excitement of coin collecting comes from this very possibility, that everyday change can hide extraordinary value. It transforms ordinary routines into treasure hunts. Every roll of pennies from the bank becomes an opportunity. Every old jar in the attic becomes a potential goldmine. And here's something even more inspiring: the 1998 Lincoln cent is not ancient history. It's modern enough that many examples are still out there in circulation or stored away in collections. Unlike rare 19th century coins that have long been removed from everyday use, this is a coin that could realistically be sitting in your home right now. Let's talk about the market. The coin market is driven by supply and demand. When collectors compete for the highest graded examples of a specific date and variety, prices can skyrocket. Registry set collectors, those trying to assemble the finest possible graded sets, often push top condition coins to astonishing levels. When there are only a few examples graded at the highest level, competition becomes fierce, and that's exactly what has happened with certain top-grade 1998 no mint mark Lincoln cents, particularly those with the wide AM variety and blazing red surfaces. Imagine paying just 1 cent for a coin decades ago and watching it become worth a life-changing amount simply because it survived an extraordinary condition. Stories like these fuel the passion of collectors across the country. They remind us that knowledge is power. The more you understand about mint marks, varieties, grading, and preservation, the more equipped you are to identify hidden opportunities. What if that coin was a 1984 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, quietly hiding in plain sight for decades? And what if a tiny detail, so small most people never notice it, could turn 1 cent into serious money? Today, we're diving deep into the United States 1984 no mint mark Lincoln 1 cent penny, a coin many Americans have handled thousands of times without realizing its hidden potential. This is not just another old coin story. This is about awareness. It's about opportunity. It's about understanding how pocket change can become a powerful financial asset if you know what to look for. The 1984 Lincoln cent features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design that has been a staple of American coinage since 1909. By 1984, the reverse still displayed the Lincoln Memorial, a tribute to the very monument in Washington, D.C., known as the Lincoln Memorial. At first glance, it seems ordinary, common, almost boring. But in the world of coin collecting, ordinary can become extraordinary in a heartbeat. Now let's clarify something important. When we say, no mint mark, for 1984, we are referring to coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use a mint mark on Lincoln cents at that time. So yes, millions were made. But here's the twist. Not all 1984 pennies are created equal. This is where Act 1 of our story begins. Discovery. Imagine a man in his early 50s cleaning out a jar of old change collected over decades. He's not a professional collector. He's someone like you. Maybe he once wondered how to sell old rare coins. How to make money from coins. Maybe he heard stories of pennies selling for thousands and thought, that can't be real. Then he spots something unusual on a 1984 penny. The date looks different. The number 8 appears slightly doubled, his heart skips. Is this one of those famous error coins? In 1984, a well-known and highly sought-after variety emerged, the 1984 double die obverse. This error occurred during the die-making process, causing noticeable doubling on the date and parts of Lincoln's ear. Yes, even Lincoln's ear shows doubling so distinct that collectors often nickname it the double ear variety. Now pause for a second. When was the last time you looked closely at Lincoln's ear on a penny? Exactly. Most people never do. And that is why opportunity exists. The 1984 no-mint mark double die penny can command impressive prices depending on condition. In circulated grades, it may sell for modest but exciting amounts. But in high mint state grades, coins that appear nearly flawless, it can reach into the hundreds or even thousands of dollars in competitive markets. Condition is everything. A sharp strike, strong red luster, and minimal contact marks can transform a simple cent into a collector's prize. Here's where excitement meets urgency. These coins are not locked in museums. They are not all sitting in private vaults. Many were released into circulation. That means some could still be hiding in old piggy banks, inherited collections, forgotten drawers, or yes, even in your pocket change. But Act 2 is not just about discovery. It's about understanding value and taking action. Let's address the question directly: how to sell old and rare coins in the USA and get maximum value in an auction shop. First, knowledge is power. You must identify the coin correctly. If you suspect you have a 1984 double die, compare it with verified images from reputable numismatic sources. Look closely at the doubling on the 8 in 1984 and Lincoln's ear. Use magnification. Take your time. Second, condition matters more than you think. A coin graded MS-65 by a respected third-party grading service can be worth dramatically more than the same coin in lower condition. Professional grading by major services adds credibility and market confidence. Buyers pay more when they trust authenticity and grade. Now let me ask you something. Are you treating your coins like loose change, or like potential assets? Because the market treats them like assets, the coin market has grown increasingly sophisticated. Online platforms, major auction houses, and coin shows across the country provide multiple avenues to sell. How to sell coins effectively? You can approach local coin shops, but always compare offers. You can consign to national auction houses where competitive bidding can drive prices higher. You can even use reputable online marketplaces, but always factor in fees and buyer trust. Here's a pattern interrupt for you. If pennies were truly worthless, why are collectors zooming in on Lincoln's ear with microscopes? Exactly, fear is a powerful motivator. Imagine unknowingly spending a rare error coin at a gas station. Imagine using it in a vending machine. It disappears forever. That thought alone should push you to inspect your coins before you dismiss them. Excitement is just as powerful. Imagine discovering that a coin you found in pocket change is worth hundreds or thousands. Imagine telling your family that the jar of pennies everyone ignored just paid for a vacation, a car repair, or part of your retirement fund. This is not fantasy. It is market reality when the right coin meets the right buyer. The 1984 no-mint mark double die penny is highly demanded because error coins represent minting history frozen in metal. They are mistakes that escaped quality control. And collectors love mistakes, especially visible, dramatic ones. But let's connect this to a bigger vision. From pocket change to millions. Is that really possible? While not every 1984 penny will make you wealthy, building knowledge about coins can absolutely lead to significant profits over time. Many serious collectors and dealers started exactly where you are, searching rolls of pennies, studying varieties, learning grading standards, understanding demand cycles, how to make money from coins consistently. You educate yourself. You buy smart. You sell strategically. You don't rush. You don't panic. You treat coins as long-term tangible assets, and let's talk about urgency again. The older generations who stored coins for decades are slowly passing collections down. New collectors are entering the market. Demand for high-quality error coins remains strong. When supply tightens in top grades, prices respond. Act 3 of our story is transformation. Remember the man who found the double die in his change jar? He didn't just sell it impulsively. He researched. He had it authenticated. He compared auction results. He chose a reputable venue. When bidding opened, collectors competed. The final hammer price far exceeded what he ever imagined a penny could bring, but more important than the money was the shift in mindset. He stopped seeing coins as clutter. He started seeing them as opportunity. So let me ask you directly. How many 1984 pennies have passed through your hands? How many did you ignore? What if one of them had that doubled ear? What if one is sitting in your house right now? The beauty of the 1984 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is that it teaches a powerful lesson. Wealth opportunities are often small, overlooked, and underestimated. They require attention. They require curiosity. They reward action. If you want to sell old rare coins, start by organizing them. Separate by date. Look for unusual features. Study key varieties. Consult price guides. Compare auction records. Visit coin shows. Speak with multiple dealers. Never accept the first offer without research. If you want to know how to sell coins for maximum dollars, remember this: presentation matters. A properly stored, graded, and documented coin commands respect. Respect commands higher bids, and if your dream is financial freedom, understand that every journey begins with awareness. Maybe it begins with a penny. The 1984 no-mint mark double die Lincoln cent stands as proof that even in a year when billions of coins were struck, a small percentage carry extraordinary value. High-grade examples remain in strong demand. Collectors continue to search. Dealers continue to buy. Auctions continue to set competitive prices for premium specimens. So tonight, before you relax, before you scroll endlessly on your phone, do something different. Open that drawer. Check that jar. Look closely at 1984 pennies. But today, we are diving deep into one of the most overlooked modern coins in American history, the 1991 Lincoln 1-cent penny with no mint mark. This is not just another ordinary coin story. This is about hidden value, sharp eyes, and understanding what makes certain pennies stand out from the billions that were struck. The 1991 Lincoln cent without a mint mark was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. During that year, Philadelphia struck over 4 billion Lincoln cents. Because of this massive mintage, most people assume these coins are extremely common and therefore worthless beyond face value. And in most cases, that assumption is correct. But as every serious coin collector knows, rarity is not just about mintage numbers. It is about condition, errors, and extraordinary preservation. The obverse of the 1991 penny features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, originally designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909. Above Lincoln's head, you'll see the word Liberty to the left, and the date 1991 to the right. Since this coin has no mint mark, it was struck in Philadelphia, and during that time, Philadelphia pennies did not carry a mint mark. On the reverse, you will find the Lincoln Memorial design, introduced in 1959. The memorial stands tall in the center, with United States of America above and 1 cent below. If you look very closely, you can even see a tiny depiction of Lincoln's statue inside the memorial, a small detail that many people overlook. Now here is where things start to get interesting. While billions were made, very few survive today in perfect, pristine, uncirculated condition. Most 1991 pennies were heavily used in everyday transactions. They passed through grocery stores, gas stations, vending machines, and banks. They were scratched, dropped, stacked, and worn down, but a tiny fraction escaped circulation. Some were pulled straight from mint rolls. Some were preserved by collectors who recognized their flawless surfaces early on. And when we talk about value, Condition is everything. Professional coin grading services like PCGS and NGC use a numerical grading scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS-60 is considered uncirculated but may have noticeable marks. As you move up the scale to MS-65 and beyond, the coin becomes more visually appealing with fewer imperfections. When you reach the elite levels, MS-68, MS-69, or the nearly impossible MS-70, you enter a completely different financial category. High-grade 1991 no-mint mark pennies with blazing red luster, sharp strike details, and virtually no contact marks are exceptionally rare. Collectors compete aggressively for these top-tier examples because registry sets demand the finest known specimens, but grade is not the only factor that can transform this common coin into something special. Errors are another powerful value driver. During the minting process, coins are struck at extremely high speeds. When something goes wrong, whether it's a misaligned die, a doubled die, a planchet flaw, or an off-center strike, the result can be a dramatic and collectible error. For 1991 pennies, collectors look for double die obverse varieties. Doubling may appear on the date, Liberty, or In God We Trust. Strong doubling that is visible without magnification can significantly increase value. Other collectible errors include broad strikes, where the coin was struck without a retaining collar and appears slightly larger than normal, and off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing due to improper alignment. There are also die cracks, cuds, and repunched mintmark varieties, although since this coin has no mintmark, repunched mintmarks do not apply here. Another important factor is color. Designation. Copper coins are categorized as brown, or red. A full red designation indicates that the coin retains at least 95% of its original mint luster. Over time, copper oxidizes and darkens. So finding a bright red 1991 penny more than 3 decades later is far more challenging than most people think. This is why serious collectors search bank rolls, estate collections, and old coin albums. They are hunting for that one coin that was never spent, never mishandled, and never exposed to harsh environments. Now let's talk about realistic values. In circulated condition, a 1991 no-mint mark penny is generally worth face value. In lightly uncirculated condition, it may sell for a small premium, perhaps a few cents to $1 depending on in gem uncirculated grades like MS-65 red, the value increases modestly, often reaching a few dollars. But once you move into superb gem territory, MS-67 red and higher, prices can climb significantly. At the very top of the grading scale, where only a handful of coins exist in near-perfect condition, auction records show astonishing results. Registry collectors are willing to pay dramatic premiums for the finest known examples because they want to complete the highest-ranked collections in the country, and this is where an ordinary-looking penny can shock the world. The difference between a coin worth 1 cent and a coin worth thousands often comes down to microscopic details, tiny marks, sharpness of strike, brilliance of luster, and overall eye appeal. So how do you know if you have a valuable 1991 penny? First, examine the surface under bright light. Rotate the coin slowly and look for cartwheel luster, that spinning light effect across the surface. Dull, flat surfaces usually indicate circulation. Second, check for scratches or contact marks, especially on Lincoln's cheek and jaw. These are prime focal areas graders evaluate closely. Third, inspect the lettering and date for doubling. Use a magnifying glass if possible. Fourth, examine the reverse memorial columns and steps. Strong, crisp details add to the overall grade. If you truly believe your coin is exceptional, consider submitting it to a reputable grading service. Professional authentication not only confirms the grade but also protects the coin in a tamper-evident holder. High-end buyers typically demand certified examples before paying premium prices. Now imagine this: you are sorting through a jar of old pennies inherited from a relative. Most look worn and ordinary. But one coin catches your eye. It's bright. It shines differently. The edges are sharp. There are almost no visible marks. You send it in for grading. Weeks later, you receive the results. It comes back as one of the highest graded examples known. Suddenly, something you nearly ignored becomes the centerpiece of a competitive auction. Bidders from across the country place aggressive offers. What was once spare change becomes serious money. Stories like this are not fantasy. They happen because most people overlook modern coins. They assume only old coins from the early 1900s have value. But modern high-grade coins can be even rarer in top condition because fewer people preserve them carefully. The key lesson here is awareness. Every penny you touch could hold hidden potential. The 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln cent may not sound rare at first, but condition rarity is a powerful force in the coin market. Collectors building complete Lincoln Memorial sets from 1959 to 2008 demand the best possible grade for each year. When populations at the highest levels remain extremely low, competition drives prices upward. This is why education is your greatest asset. Learn the grading scale. Study auction archives. Compare your coins carefully. Do not clean your coins. Cleaning destroys value instantly. Original surfaces are sacred in numismatics, and most importantly, never underestimate modern coins simply because they are not ancient. The American 1-cent coin has a long and fascinating history dating back to 1793. From large cents to Indian head cents to wheat pennies and finally the Lincoln Memorial series, each era has produced unexpected rarities. The 1991 Philadelphia issue represents a time when coin production was massive, yet true perfection was scarce. That scarcity at the top is what fuels excitement today. So before you spend another penny, take a closer look. A small copper coin that could quietly be worth far more than 1 cent. The 1995 Lincoln penny is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series that began in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse features the familiar portrait of Lincoln that has become one of the most recognized coin designs in American history. On the reverse of the 1995 version, you will find the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 and used until 2008. Now here is where things get interesting. When we say, no mint mark, for the 1995 penny, we are referring to coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint. During that year, pennies produced in Philadelphia did not carry a mint mark. Coins from Denver show a D, and those from San Francisco show an S. But if your 1995 penny has no letter under the date, it was minted in Philadelphia. At first glance, that may not seem rare. In fact, the Philadelphia Mint struck billions of pennies in 1995. So how can something made in such huge quantities ever be valuable? The answer lies in condition and errors. Coin collecting is not just about age. It is about rarity within condition and the presence of minting mistakes. Most 1995 no-mint mark pennies are worth only face value in circulated condition. If they have been used in everyday transactions, show wear on Lincoln's cheek, dull luster, and scratches, they are common. But once you move into uncirculated territory, the story begins to change. An uncirculated 1995 no-mint mark penny that still has its original mint luster, no signs of wear, sharp details in Lincoln's hair, and full steps visible on the Lincoln Memorial can command a premium. Collectors pay more for coins graded MS-65, MS-66, or higher by professional grading companies, but the real excitement comes from the famous 1995 double-die obverse variety. The 1995 double-die penny is one of the most talked about modern-era coins in American numismatics. On this variety, you can clearly see doubling in the word liberty and in the motto "In God We Trust." This doubling is not machine doubling or damage. It is a true double-die error that occurred during the die creation process. Under magnification, the letters appear thick and slightly separated. Even without magnification, the doubling is often visible to the naked eye. That is what makes this coin so attractive to collectors. It is dramatic. It is obvious. And it is legitimate. Many people have found this error coin in pocket change over the years. Imagine paying for coffee and receiving a coin that later turns out to be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on condition. If you are searching for this variety, take a close look at Liberty. Focus on the letters L, I, and B. Then check In God We Trust. Strong, clear doubling is the key. Be careful not to confuse it with minor shadowing caused by worn dies or damage. Condition is everything. A circulated double-die example may bring a few $100s. But a high-grade uncirculated example, certified and preserved in near-perfect condition, can bring significantly more. Now let's talk about grading, because this is where serious value begins to separate average coins from exceptional ones. Professional grading services such as PCGS and NGC evaluate coins on a scale from 1 to 70. A grade of MS-70 represents a perfect coin with no visible imperfections under magnification. While most 1995 pennies will never reach that level, those that grade MS-67 or higher are extremely desirable. Why? Because while billions were made, very few were saved in pristine condition. Most were thrown into circulation immediately. Over time, bags of coins were mishandled, stored improperly, or exposed to humidity. Finding a flawless survivor decades later becomes increasingly difficult. Another factor that can influence value is color designation. Lincoln cents are often categorized as red, red-brown, or brown. A full red coin retains its original bright copper color. These coins are more desirable and usually command higher prices than those that have toned to brown. So if you have a 1995 no-mint mark penny that is blazing red, sharply struck, and free from marks, you may be holding something special. Let's also discuss strike quality. Even though the Philadelphia Mint produced coins in massive numbers, not every coin was struck with equal precision. Some may show weak details in Lincoln's hair or on the steps of the memorial. A sharply struck coin with crisp details is more appealing and more valuable. Collectors in the United States between the ages of 30 and 65, especially those interested in building wealth through rare coins, understand that modern varieties can offer incredible opportunities. Unlike ancient coins locked away in museums, these are coins that could still be hiding in everyday change jars, dresser drawers, or inherited collections. This is why searching through rolls of pennies can feel like a treasure hunt. It does not require millions of dollars to start. It requires knowledge, patience, and attention to detail. If you are serious about maximizing the value of your coins, consider these steps. First, examine your pennies under good lighting. Use a magnifying glass of at least 5x to 10x power. Second, separate coins by condition. Third, research confirmed double die characteristics so you know exactly what to look for. Finally, if you believe you have found a strong example, consider submitting it to a reputable grading service. Authentication matters. The coin market rewards certainty. A certified coin in a tamper-proof holder gives buyers confidence and often increases resale value. The 1995 no-mint mark Lincoln penny reminds us of something powerful. Value is not always obvious. Sometimes it hides in plain sight. A coin that most people overlook can become a collector's prize when the right combination of rarity, condition, and demand comes together. Imagine opening an old coin jar inherited from a family member. Inside are dozens of 1990s pennies. Most are ordinary. But one shows strong doubling. It is uncirculated, bright red, nearly flawless. After professional grading, it receives a high mint state grade and confirmation as a doubled die. At that moment, that simple penny transforms from spare change into a serious asset. Stories like this are not myths. They are part of modern American coin collecting history. The key lesson for anyone watching is simple. Never assume a coin is worthless because it looks common. Educate yourself. Inspect carefully. Preserve condition. And when in doubt, seek professional evaluation. The United States of America 1995 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny stands as proof that even modern coins can carry surprising potential. Billions were struck, yet only a fraction possessed the characteristics collectors truly desire. At first glance, it looks ordinary. Just another copper-colored coin with Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile. But what if I told you that under the right circumstances, this tiny piece of metal could be worth far more than 1 cent? What if the coin you've passed over 100 times could actually hold serious value in today's collector market? Let's uncover the real story behind the 1997 D Lincoln penny, what makes certain examples special, and how you can tell if yours is worth serious money. The 1997 D Lincoln cent was struck at the Denver Mint, represented by the small D mint mark located just below the date on the obverse of the coin. This coin features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse, used from 1959 through 2008, displays the Lincoln Memorial, making this part of the long-running Lincoln Memorial Cent series. By 1997, the United States Mint was producing billions of pennies each year. In fact, the Denver Mint struck well over 4 billion 1997 pennies. That's a huge number. And when collectors hear billions, they usually think one word, common, but here's where things get interesting. While most 1997 pennies are only worth face value, condition is everything in the coin world. The overwhelming majority of these coins entered circulation immediately. They were used in cash registers, dropped on sidewalks, tossed into jars, and worn down through everyday transactions. Very few were preserved in pristine condition, and that's where opportunity begins. In 1997 penny in heavily circulated condition is typically worth just 1 cent. In lightly circulated condition, you might see values of 3 to 10 cents. Nothing exciting yet, but if you find one in uncirculated condition, meaning it shows no signs of wear, retains full mint luster, and has sharp details, the value jumps significantly. In mint state grades such as MS65 or higher, collectors are willing to pay a premium. Now let's talk about grading. Professional grading companies like the Professional Coin Grading Service and the Numismatic Guarantee Company evaluate coins based on strike quality, surface preservation, luster, and eye appeal. A difference of just one grade point can mean a dramatic difference in price. For the 1997 penny, coins graded MS67 are scarce. Coins graded MS68 are extremely rare. When you get into these ultra-high grades, you're dealing with coins that look nearly flawless under magnification. Why so rare? Because pennies are difficult to preserve perfectly. They are made primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating. This composition, introduced in 1982, makes them more susceptible to nicks, spots, and surface imperfections. Even coins taken directly from mint rolls often show tiny marks from contact with other coins. So when a 1997 penny survives in near-perfect condition, collectors take notice, but condition isn't the only factor. Error coins can push the value even higher. And this is where you really want to pay attention. Some 1997 pennies exhibit striking errors. These may include off-center strikes, double strikes, die cracks, or even double die varieties. A true double die error occurs during the die creation process and results in noticeable doubling on design elements such as the date, lettering, or Lincoln's features. Not all doubling is valuable. Machine doubling, which is common, does not carry much premium. But genuine double dies can command serious attention from collectors. There have also been examples of broad strikes and minor off-center errors from the Denver Mint that attract strong bids when certified. Now imagine combining a dramatic mint error with a high mint state grade. That's when values can climb sharply. Let's talk real numbers in today's collector market. A typical circulated 1997 penny is worth face value. An uncirculated example in MS65 might sell for $5 to $15. In MS67, values can rise into the hundreds depending on eye appeal and demand, but the absolute finest known examples, coins graded at the very top of the population reports, have achieved astonishing results at auction. This is why collectors constantly search through rolls of pennies from banks, old collections, and estate sales. Because hidden among billions of ordinary coins could be a condition rarity, and here's something most people don't realize: the late 1990s were not known for exceptional strike quality. Many coins from this era show weak details, especially on Lincoln's hair and the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. Finding a sharply struck coin with blazing red luster and clean surfaces is much harder than the mintage number suggests. If you're searching your own coins, here's what to look for. First, check the mint mark. It must have a clear D beneath the date. Second, examine the color. Collectors prefer red coins, meaning the coin retains its original bright copper color. Over time, copper surfaces turn brown. A fully red example is more desirable and more valuable. Third, inspect the surfaces carefully under magnification. Look for minimal contact marks, no discoloration, and strong detail. Fourth, check for errors. Pay close attention to the date and the word Liberty. Any unusual doubling should be carefully compared against verified double die references before assuming it has major value. If you believe you have a high grade or error example, the next step is professional grading. Certification not only authenticates your coin but also protects it in a tamper-evident holder and establishes its grade in the marketplace. For collectors between the ages of 30 and 65 who are serious about building wealth through rare coins, understanding condition rarity is critical. Not every valuable coin is old. Sometimes modern coins in extraordinary condition are the true sleepers of the hobby. The 1997 D. Lincoln penny is a perfect example. Billions were made. Almost all are common. But the tiny fraction that survived in elite condition have become modern collectibles with real financial upside, and this is why coin roll hunting remains so popular across the United States. Because the thrill of discovery is real. The possibility that a coin worth 1 cent could be worth hundreds, or even more, keeps collectors searching. Think about it, how many 1997 D pennies have passed through your hands? How many are sitting unnoticed in change jars across America? Most people will never look twice. But informed collectors know better. The coin market rewards knowledge, patience, and attention to detail. It rewards those who take the time to learn grading standards, understand mint errors, and recognize true quality when they see it. We're diving deep into a modern coin that many Americans overlook every single day, the 2002 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. And by the end of this video, you might start looking at every penny a little differently. The year 2002 may not feel like ancient history. It wasn't part of the classic wheat cent era. It wasn't struck in silver. It isn't more than a century old. But what makes this coin exciting is not just its age, it's its condition, its rarity in top grades, and the powerful collector demand that can turn an ordinary cent into serious money. Let's begin with the basics. The 2002 Lincoln 1-cent penny features the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. This iconic design was originally introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The designer, Victor David Brenner, created a portrait that remains one of the most recognized images in American coinage history. On the reverse of the 2002 penny, you'll see the Lincoln Memorial, a design that was used from 1959 through 2008. Now here's something important. When we say, no mint mark, for the 2002 penny, we are referring to coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Unlike coins from Denver, which carry a small D mint mark, or San Francisco proof coins that carry an S, Philadelphia business strike pennies from this era typically have no mint mark at all. So if you see a 2002 penny without a letter under the date, that means it was struck in Philadelphia. At first glance, you might assume that because millions and millions of these coins were made, they can't possibly be worth much. And it's true that the vast majority of 2002 no-mint mark pennies are only worth their face value, 1 cent. But here's where things start to get interesting. In coin collecting, condition is everything. The 2002 no-mint mark Lincoln cent had a mintage of over 3 billion pieces. That's a massive number. But most of those coins went straight into circulation. They were dropped in jars, spent at grocery stores, passed through vending machines, and worn down by years of handling. As a result, finding one in perfect, flawless condition today is much harder than you might think. Collectors use a grading scale to determine a coin's condition, ranging from poor all the way up to mint state 70. Mint state coins are those that have never been circulated and retain their original luster and detail. The higher the mint state number, the closer the coin is to absolute perfection. For the 2002 no-mint mark penny, coins graded mint state 65 or 66 are relatively available. These might sell for a modest premium, perhaps a few dollars, sometimes a bit more depending on eye appeal and market demand. But once you move into the ultra-high grades, the story changes dramatically. In mint state 67, the population drops significantly. At this level, you're looking at a coin with sharp detail, minimal marks, and strong original luster. These can sell for substantially more than face value, especially when certified by major grading companies like PCGS or NGC. But here's where collectors get truly excited. In mint state 68, the 2002 no-mint mark Lincoln cent becomes extremely rare. Very few examples have achieved this grade. At this level, the coin must be nearly flawless, with blazing red color, virtually no contact marks, and exceptional eye appeal. Even a tiny imperfection can prevent a coin from reaching this elite status, and because so few exist in this condition, competition among collectors can drive prices to astonishing levels. Color also plays a major role in value. Lincoln cents are typically categorized as brown, or red. A full red example, meaning it retains nearly all of its original copper color without toning, is far more desirable, especially in high grades. Over time, copper naturally darkens, so finding a bright red coin from 2002 in pristine condition becomes increasingly difficult as years pass. Now let's talk about errors. Although the 2002 no-mint mark penny is not widely known for major mint errors, that doesn't mean they don't exist. Off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, and broad strikes can occasionally be found. A dramatic off-center error, especially if the date is still visible, can command strong premiums. Double die varieties, if confirmed and authenticated, can also attract serious collector interest. The key is knowledge and careful examination. Many valuable coins have been discovered not in coin shops, but in pocket change, bank rolls, and old jars sitting in kitchen cabinets. People often overlook modern coins because they assume they're too common to matter. But history has shown that condition rarities, even among modern issues, can bring surprising results at auction. Imagine opening a roll of pennies from the bank and spotting a 2002 coin that looks unusually bright, with sharp details and no visible wear. Instead of spending it, you set it aside. You compare it to grading guides. You notice that the fields are clean, the Lincoln Memorial lines are crisp, and the surfaces glow with original luster. That moment of curiosity could change everything. Serious collectors often submit such coins to professional grading services. Once encapsulated and certified, the coin becomes part of a recognized population report. If it turns out to be one of the finest known examples, its value can rise dramatically. Demand is another critical factor. Lincoln cents are among the most widely collected coins in the United States. Millions of collectors, from beginners to advanced numismatists, build complete date and mint sets. While older key dates get much of the attention, modern condition rarities are increasingly popular. Registry set collectors, in particular, compete fiercely for the highest graded coins to improve their rankings. When only a handful of coins exist in the top grade, and multiple collectors want them, prices can escalate quickly. Auctions become battlegrounds. Bidders push each other higher and higher, determined to secure the finest example, and that's how a coin that most people ignore can become a headline-worthy sale. Now, let's be clear. Not every 2002 no-mint mark penny will make you wealthy. In fact, most are worth just 1 cent. The difference lies in condition, rarity at the highest grades, and authentication. That if you're serious about searching, here are a few tips. First, examine your coins under good lighting. Natural light or a bright LED lamp works best. Tilt the coin and watch how the luster moves across the surface. Original mint luster has a distinctive cartwheel effect. Second, look for marks. Even tiny nicks can lower a grade. Pay close attention to Lincoln's cheek and jawline, as well as the open fields in front of his face. On the reverse, inspect the steps and columns of the Lincoln Memorial. Third, separate any coins that appear especially sharp or red. Store them carefully in protective holders to avoid adding new scratches. Fourth, consider professional grading if you truly believe you have an exceptional example. Certification not only confirms authenticity but also provides a trusted grade that buyers rely on. The world of coin collecting rewards patience, knowledge, and attention to detail. Sometimes the greatest opportunities are hiding in plain sight. Think about it. In 2002, these pennies were handed out as change for a cup of coffee, a newspaper, or a gallon of gas. 2 decades later, a tiny fraction of them in pristine condition have become modern treasures sought after by collectors. And here's the exciting part. Point 1. Extraordinary 2002 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, graded at the highest levels and preserved in stunning red condition, achieved a remarkable sale price at auction, $76,753. That's the power of condition. That's the power of rarity. And that's why you should never underestimate the coins in your pocket. So before you toss your spare change into a jar or ignore that penny on the sidewalk, take a closer look. Because hidden among billions of ordinary coins could be a small copper disc that tells a big financial story. But what if I told you that one ordinary-looking coin from the United States of America, the 2005 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, has shocked collectors and turned everyday pocket change into serious money. Today, we are diving deep into the story, the details, the errors, and the hidden value of the 2005 Lincoln cent with no mint mark. If you are between 30 and 65, living in the United States, and you have ever wondered whether the coins in your home could fund your dreams, pay off debt, or even transform your lifestyle, this is the video you cannot afford to skip. The 2005 Lincoln 1-cent coin belongs to the long-running Lincoln cent series, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. The obverse of this coin features the familiar portrait of Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner. On the reverse of the 2005 penny, you will see a special design from the Lincoln bicentennial preparation era. In 2005, the reverse still featured the Lincoln Memorial, a design that had been used since 1959, symbolizing American strength and unity. Now let's talk about the no mint mark detail. Many new collectors believe that when a coin has no mint mark, it must be an error. But that is not always true. In 2005, pennies struck at the United States Mint facility in Philadelphia did not carry a mint mark. That means a 2005 penny without a mint mark was most likely struck in Philadelphia. So at first glance, it seems common. In fact, billions were made, but here is where things get interesting. While regular 2005 Philadelphia pennies are common, certain error varieties and high-grade examples have stunned the coin market. And this is where knowledge becomes power. Because most people see a penny. A smart collector sees condition, strike quality, die errors, and rare anomalies that can multiply value dramatically. Let's start with condition. In coin collecting, condition is everything. A circulated 2005 no mint mark penny that has been in pockets for years, scratched and worn, is usually worth face value. But an uncirculated example, especially one graded MS-67 or higher by a top grading service, can command strong premiums. Why? Because high-grade modern coins are surprisingly difficult to find. Even though millions were made, very few survive in pristine, flawless condition. When collectors search rolls directly from banks or unopened mint rolls saved since 2005, they look for coins with blazing red luster, sharp details on Lincoln's hair and beard, and no distracting marks. A coin that appears ordinary to the untrained eye might actually be a condition rarity. Now let's discuss errors, because this is where the real excitement lies. Point 1 of the most desirable errors on modern Lincoln cents is the double die. A double die occurs when the die that strikes the coin has a misalignment during creation, causing design elements to appear doubled. On a 2005 no mint mark penny, collectors closely inspect the date, the word liberty, and the motto "In God We Trust." Strong, visible doubling in these areas can significantly increase value. Another valuable error is an off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank is not properly aligned during striking, leaving part of the design missing. The more dramatic the off-center error, while still showing a full date, the more desirable it becomes. There are also die cracks, cut errors, and clipped planchets. A cut error appears as a raised blob of metal on the edge of the coin, caused by a broken piece of the die. Clipped planchets occur when the metal blank is improperly cut, leaving a curved or straight missing section. These errors transform a common coin into a conversation piece and sometimes into a high-value collectible. But here is something even more powerful. The 2005 Lincoln cent was struck in a composition of copper-plated zinc. Since 1982, most Lincoln cents have been primarily zinc with a thin copper coating. This makes them more susceptible to issues like plating bubbles and surface problems. However, coins that survive without these defects in top condition are harder to find than most people realize. Imagine going through a jar of old pennies in your kitchen and spotting a 2005 coin that looks unusually sharp. You hold it under a bright light. The fields are smooth and reflective. Lincoln's portrait is crisp. The edges are clean. You compare it with others and notice it stands out. That moment right there is the difference between someone who spends change and someone who builds wealth from knowledge. Professional grading plays a critical role in unlocking maximum value. Services like PCGS and NGC authenticate and grade coins on a scale from 1 to 70. A jump from MS-65 to MS-67 can mean hundreds or even thousands of dollars difference, depending on rarity and demand. Collectors are constantly competing for the finest known examples. Registry sets, where collectors try to assemble the highest graded coins for each year and mint, create strong demand for top population pieces. When only a few coins exist at the highest grade, prices can skyrocket, and that brings us to the powerful truth about modern coins. Many people believe only old coins from the 1800s or early 1900s are valuable. But modern coins in exceptional condition or with dramatic errors can outperform older pieces in auction results. The market rewards rarity and demand, not just age. Auction houses have recorded astonishing results for modern Lincoln cents when they combine rarity, condition, and strong collector competition. A flawless or rare error 2005 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, certified at the very top of the grading scale, has achieved a jaw-dropping sale price of $76,756. Yes, you heard that correctly. A coin that most people ignore. A coin that many toss into tip jars. A coin that could be hiding in a forgotten roll. $76,756, but let's be responsible and realistic. Not every 2005 no-mint mark penny is worth that amount. The vast majority are worth 1 cent. The difference lies in condition, rarity, and verified error status. That is why education is your greatest asset. Here is what you should do if you think you have a promising coin. First, handle it carefully. Hold it by the edges. Do not clean it. Cleaning destroys value instantly. Even light rubbing can leave hairline scratches visible under magnification. Second, examine it under magnification. Use a loupe with at least 5x to 10x magnification. Look for doubling, unusual marks, off-center strikes, or raised blobs along the rim. Third, compare it with known error examples from reputable sources. Study images from auction archives and professional grading websites. Knowledge sharpens your eye. Fourth, if the coin appears exceptional, consider submitting it to a reputable grading service. Authentication and grading provide credibility and open the door to serious buyers. Now let's talk about mindset. You are not just searching for coins. You are searching for overlooked opportunity. Wealth often hides in places others ignore. The 2005 no-mint mark Lincoln penny represents a broader lesson. Small things, when understood deeply, can become powerful assets. Imagine building a habit of checking your change daily. Imagine teaching your children or grandchildren how to recognize valuable coins. Imagine turning a simple hobby into a side income stream. Coin collecting is not just about money. It is about history, patience, research, and strategic thinking. It connects you to American heritage, to the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, and to the craftsmanship of the United States Mint, and sometimes, it connects you to life-changing financial opportunity. If you are serious about selling rare coins for maximum value, remember these final principles: never rush. Research before selling. High-value coins deserve careful marketing, whether through major auction houses or specialized dealers. Document everything. Keep grading certificates, high-quality photos, and auction records. Network with other collectors. Knowledge grows when shared, and most importantly, believe that opportunity is real. Because somewhere in America right now, someone is overlooking a coin that another person would treasure. The 2005 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny may look simple. But in the right condition, with the right characteristics, and in the right market moment, it has proven that even a single cent can command $76,756. So tonight, before you relax, before you scroll endlessly on your phone, take 5 minutes. Open that drawer. Check that jar. Look at your loose change with new eyes. We're diving deep into a modern coin that many Americans still have in circulation, a coin that might be hiding in your pocket right now. We're talking about the 2013 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny from the United States of America. This is not an ancient relic. This is not a century-old rarity pulled from a pirate chest. This is a modern issue from the United States Mint. And yet, under the right circumstances, with the right condition and the right error, this ordinary-looking coin can become extraordinary. Let's start with the basics. The 2013 Lincoln 1-cent penny is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series that began in 1909. On the obverse, you'll see the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, a design that has become one of the most recognized images in American coinage. The reverse of the 2013 penny features the Union Shield design, symbolizing Lincoln's preservation of the United States as a single nation. Now here's where things get interesting. When we say, no mint mark, many new collectors assume that means the coin is rare. But in reality, a 2013 penny without a mint mark simply means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Traditionally, coins from Philadelphia did not carry a mint mark for cents in many years, including 2013. So at first glance, there is nothing unusual about a 2013 penny without a mint mark. Millions upon millions were produced. So why are we even talking about it? Because in the world of coin collecting, value doesn't always come from age. It comes from rarity, condition, and errors. And sometimes, a coin that was made in massive numbers becomes incredibly valuable because of a tiny mistake, one small deviation during the minting process that transforms it from pocket change into a collector's treasure. In 2013, the Philadelphia Mint struck billions of Lincoln cents. Most of them are worth exactly 1 cent. But among those billions, a handful stand out. These are coins with exceptional condition grades or rare minting errors. Let's talk about condition first. In everyday circulation, pennies get scratched, dented, and worn down quickly. They pass through vending machines, cash registers, and countless hands. Over time, they lose their original luster. But a coin that was never circulated, one that remained in pristine, untouched condition, can be graded as mint state by professional grading services. And here's the key: modern coins in perfect condition are much rarer than people think. A 2013 no mint mark penny graded MS 67 or higher by top-tier grading companies is already difficult to find. But when you reach the ultra-rare grades like MS 68 or above, you're talking about coins that represent the absolute finest known examples. Collectors compete fiercely for perfection. Why? Because registry-set collectors, those building the highest graded collections in the country, are willing to pay serious money for the best of the best. They are not just buying a penny. They are buying status, rarity, and investment potential. Now let's turn to mint errors, the true hidden jackpots of modern coinage. Mint errors occur during the production process at the United States Mint. These errors can include off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, wrong planchet errors, and dramatic die breaks. Most errors are subtle and add modest premiums. But occasionally, a spectacular error slips through quality control and enters circulation. Imagine finding a 2013 penny that was struck off-center by 50%, yet still shows a full date. Or a dramatic double die obverse where Lincoln's features and lettering appear boldly doubled. Or even rarer, a transitional or wrong metal strike. These are the kinds of coins that ignite bidding wars. But here's the truth that many people don't realize: condition and authentication are everything. If you believe you found a special 2013 no mint mark penny, the next step is not to clean it. Never clean a coin. Cleaning destroys value instantly. Instead, handle it carefully by the edges and consider submitting it to a reputable grading service. Professional grading provides 3 crucial benefits: authentication, condition assessment, market credibility. Without professional grading, even a rare error coin may struggle to reach its full potential at auction. Now let's talk about the psychology of modern coin treasures. Most people assume valuable coins are always old. Silver dollars from the 1800s, gold coins from the Wild West, or early wheat. Pennies. But modern coins have a unique advantage. They are often overlooked. They blend into circulation. And because people don't expect them to be valuable, they don't search for them as aggressively. That creates opportunity. The 2013 no mint mark Lincoln cent sits in that fascinating space between common and potentially rare. It's recent enough that millions of Americans may still have one tucked away. Yet in the highest possible grade or with the right mint error, it can command astonishing sums. This is where your attention to detail becomes your greatest asset. Look closely at the coin's surface. Does it have strong, full red luster? Are the shield lines on the reverse sharp and crisp? Is Lincoln's coat detailed without flattening? Are there any signs of doubling in the lettering, especially in God We Trust, or the date? Use magnification. Study under good lighting. Compare your coin to known examples. The collectors who find valuable coins are not lucky. They are observant. Let's also consider supply and demand. Even though billions were minted, how many survived in flawless condition? How many were preserved immediately after striking? How many escaped even microscopic contact marks? Very few. Modern coin production is high speed. Coins fall into bins, collide with one another, and are transported in bulk. Each contact leaves tiny marks. That's why ultra-high-grade examples are so elusive, and when rarity meets demand, prices climb. Over the years, we've seen modern pennies shock the market. Coins that once seemed too new to matter suddenly break auction records when a top-graded example surfaces. The reason is simple: perfection is rare, no matter the year. Now imagine this scenario: you're sorting through a jar of change. You separate the copper-colored cents from the rest. You start checking dates. 2009, 2015. 1998, then you see it, 2013. No mint mark. You almost toss it aside, but instead, you pause, you examine it carefully. It gleams differently. The surfaces look smoother. The strike looks sharper. Under magnification, you notice something unusual, perhaps strong doubling or an off-center strike. That moment of curiosity could change everything. This is why coin collecting is not just a hobby. It's a treasure hunt hiding in plain sight. For viewers between 30 and 65 years old, people thinking about financial security, smart investments, or even early retirement, coins offer something unique. They are tangible assets. They don't depend on digital systems. They are historical artifacts you can hold in your hand, and sometimes, they are dramatically undervalued until the market recognizes their scarcity. The 2013 no-mint mark Lincoln penny represents a powerful lesson. Never underestimate modern coins. It's easy to assume that only ancient silver and gold hold real value. But the numismatic market has repeatedly proven that condition rarity can be just as powerful as age. If you are serious about turning coin hunting into profit, build a strategy, study mintages, learn grading standards, invest in a quality magnifying loupe, store coins properly in protective holders, and most importantly, be patient. Not every 2013 penny will be valuable. In fact, most will not. But you are not searching for most coins. You are searching for the exceptional one. Remember, the difference between 1 cent and a life-changing payday often comes down to a microscopic detail, and when the right coin appears in the right condition at the right time, the market responds. There have been examples of elite condition 2013 no-mint mark Lincoln cents reaching astonishing heights at auction when certified at the very top of the grading scale and demanded by competitive registry collectors. In the world of modern numismatics, perfection commands a premium. And now, imagine holding a tiny copper-plated zinc disc, just 19 millimeters wide, realizing that this unassuming piece of American currency could represent an opportunity most people overlook. That is the power of knowledge. That is the power of paying attention, and that is why you should never ignore a 2013 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. Because while billions were made, only a microscopic fraction stand above the rest, only a select few achieve near flawless preservation. Only the rarest errors survive and get authenticated, and when they do, the market can reward them in ways that seem almost unbelievable. In fact, the highest recorded market value for an elite example of this coin has reached $76,736. So the next time you see a penny, don't see 1 cent. We are talking about the 2014 mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, a modern coin that has shocked collectors, surprised families, and turned pocket change into serious money. If you are between 30 and 65 years old and you have ever saved coins, inherited a jar of change, or wondered whether something in your collection might be valuable, this is the moment to pay attention. Because sometimes wealth hides in plain sight. The 2014 Lincoln cent was struck at the historic United States Mint facility in Denver. The D mint mark beneath the date tells you it was produced at the Denver Mint. In 2014, millions upon millions of these coins were made. On the surface, that sounds like there is no chance of rarity, but here is the truth experienced collectors understand: rarity is not always about mintage numbers. It is about condition. It is about errors. It is about striking anomalies. And most importantly, it is about demand. the obverse of the 2014 penny features the timeless portrait of Abraham Lincoln, originally designed by Victor David Brenner more than a century ago. Lincoln's calm, steady gaze symbolizes strength and leadership, qualities that built a nation. The reverse design used in 2014 is the Union Shield, representing the unity of the states and the preservation of the Union. At first glance, your 2014 penny looks exactly like every other modern cent: copper-plated zinc composition. Smooth edge. Familiar design. But collectors are not looking at the coin casually. They examine it under magnification. They look for double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, BIE errors, broad strikes, clipped planchets, missing letters, unusual die polishing lines. Even subtle doubling in the date or lettering can mean the difference between 1 cent and a life-changing payday. One of the most exciting aspects of modern coins like the 2014 penny is the possibility of dramatic mint errors escaping into circulation. Despite advanced technology, no minting process is perfect. Mistakes happen. And when they do, those mistakes can become treasures. Imagine finding a 2014 Lincoln cent with a strong double die on the obverse, visible doubling in Liberty or the date. Or a dramatic off-center strike where part of the design is missing but the date remains visible. Or a broad strike error where the coin expanded beyond its normal shape because it was struck outside the collar. These are not fantasies. These are real documented error types that collectors aggressively pursue. Now let's talk about condition. Modern coins are usually heavily circulated. They get scratched, dinged, worn, and damaged quickly. That is why pristine, high-grade examples are incredibly hard to find years later. A 2014 penny graded MS-67, MS-68, or higher by professional grading services can command serious attention. Grading is everything. A coin graded MS-65 might be worth modest money. But one graded MS-68 with blazing red luster, no visible marks, and razor-sharp strike. That is elite territory. That is competition among registry set collectors. That is when bidding wars begin. Professional grading services like Professional Coin Grading Service and Numismatic Guarantee Company authenticate coins, assign numerical grades, and seal them in tamper-evident holders. Once a coin is certified at the highest levels, it enters a completely different marketplace, one driven by serious collectors and investors. Here is what many people do not realize: modern coins in superb condition can be rarer in top grades than older coins. Why? Because older coins were often saved. Modern coins are used. They circulate. They are abused in commerce. Finding a flawless survivor years later is incredibly difficult, and when supply is tiny and demand is strong, prices can skyrocket. The 2014 Lincoln 1-cent penny has been known to attract intense collector interest when found in extraordinary condition or with dramatic mint errors. Collectors building complete Lincoln cent sets compete fiercely for the finest known examples. Registry competition pushes prices higher. Pride and prestige drive bidding. This is where opportunity enters your life. Think about how many 2014 pennies you may have handled. How many passed through your hands at the grocery store, the gas station, or your workplace? How many were dropped into a jar and forgotten? Your next step is simple but powerful. Go look, search through your change. Examine every 2014 penny with a D mint mark. Use a magnifying glass. Check the date. Inspect Liberty. Study In God We Trust. Look for doubling. Look for unusual spacing. Look for errors along the rim. Rotate the coin under light and inspect the luster. Is it dull? Or does it glow with vibrant red brilliance? Do not clean the coin. Cleaning destroys value instantly. Even wiping a coin can create hairline scratches that reduce the grade. Leave it exactly as you found it. If you believe you have something special, consider sending it to a professional grading service. Yes, there is a cost. But if your coin truly is exceptional, that small investment can unlock enormous returns. Remember, value in the coin market is not about what someone thinks a coin should be worth. It is about what a willing buyer will pay at auction. And when two determined collectors want the same top population coin, prices can escalate rapidly. This is not gambling. This is knowledge combined with patience. You do not need to own ancient gold coins to build wealth through numismatics. Sometimes modern coins, overlooked by millions, hold the greatest surprises. Picture this: a single 2014 Lincoln penny, struck perfectly, preserved flawlessly, authenticated professionally, and recognized as one of the finest known examples. Collectors compete. Bidding intensifies. The auction clock ticks down. And in that moment, a coin that once bought nothing more than a fraction of a dollar transforms into a powerful financial asset. For many Americans between 30 and 65, financial security feels uncertain. Retirement planning, rising costs, unexpected expenses, these are real pressures. But hidden assets may already exist in your home. Coin collecting is not just a hobby. It is an opportunity. The Lincoln Cent series has one of the strongest collector bases in the world. Since 1909, generations have pursued these coins. Every year, new collectors enter the market. And registry competition ensures that top-grade coins continue to attract aggressive bids. The 2014 penny may be modern, but modern does not mean worthless. In fact, extreme quality modern coins can achieve astonishing results when certified at the highest levels. Let this be your reminder: wealth does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it whispers from the bottom of a jar of change. Start paying attention. Train your eye. Educate yourself. The difference between 1 cent and a fortune often comes down to awareness. And now, let me share something extraordinary. A remarkable 2014 mint mark Lincoln 1 cent penny, preserved in elite condition and recognized for its exceptional quality, reached a market value equivalent to $76,732. But what if I told you that a modern coin, a coin you might have received in change at a grocery store, could hold a surprising story, and in rare cases, serious value? Today, we're diving into the United States of America 2018 mint mark Lincoln 1 cent penny, a coin that looks ordinary at first glance, yet hides layers of history, potential errors, and collector demand that could transform a single cent into something far more exciting. The 2018 Lincoln Cent continues the long-running tribute to one of America's most respected presidents, Abraham Lincoln. First introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, the Lincoln Cent became the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. That bold decision changed American coinage forever. On the obverse, you'll see the familiar portrait of Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner. His initials, VDB, remain subtly placed, honoring the artist who shaped the image millions handle daily. The words, "In God We Trust," curve above, "Liberty" sits to the left, and the date 2018 appears to the right, along with the small but powerful letter D. That D mint mark tells us this coin was struck at the legendary Denver Mint, officially known as the United States Mint at Denver. Established in 1906, the Denver facility has produced billions of coins for circulation and remains one of the backbone institutions of American currency production. The mint mark may be tiny, but it carries the weight of history. Flip the coin over, and you'll see the Union Shield design, introduced in 2010 to replace the Lincoln Memorial reverse. The shield represents Lincoln's preservation of the United States as one unified nation. 13 vertical stripes symbolize the original colonies, bound together by a horizontal bar representing federal unity. Above the shield appears E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. Beneath the shield rests the denomination, 1 cent. Now here's what makes the 2018 Lincoln Cent particularly interesting for collectors and treasure hunters like you. In 2018, billions of Lincoln Cents were produced across various mint facilities. The Denver Mint alone struck over 2.6 billion Lincoln Cents that year. That's a massive number. And when supply is high, value usually stays low. In average circulated condition, a 2018 penny is typically worth face value, 1 cent. But we're not here for face value. We're here because within those billions of coins, rare varieties and minting errors can occur, and that's where opportunity lies. Modern coins are produced at incredible speeds using high-tonnage presses. Even with advanced technology, mistakes still slip through. And when they do, collectors pay attention. One of the most sought-after possibilities in modern pennies is a double die error. This occurs during the creation of the coin die itself. If the die receives a misaligned second impression during manufacturing, every coin struck with that die can show visible doubling on letters or numbers. On a 2018 D Lincoln cent, doubling might appear on "In God We Trust," the date, or "Liberty." Another potential error is an off-center strike. If the blank planchet is not properly aligned during striking, the design may appear partially missing, shifted dramatically to one side. The more dramatic the shift, the more dramatic the collector interest, especially if the date and mint mark remain visible. There are also clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin appears cut off in a smooth arc shape. This happens when the metal strip feeding into the blanking press overlaps improperly. Die cracks and cut errors can add further appeal. These raised lines or blobs of metal result from cracks or breaks in the die. On a shield reverse, these cracks may appear across the stripes or around the lettering. Then there's the possibility of coins struck on the wrong planchet, for example, a Lincoln cent mistakenly struck on a dime planchet or foreign blank. These errors are rare but can command serious attention in the marketplace. Condition also plays a critical role in value. Modern coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with MS-70 representing a perfect mint state example with no visible flaws under magnification. While billions were produced, very few survive in flawless condition due to handling, bag marks, and circulation where professional grading services such as the Professional Coin Grading Service and the Numismatic Guarantee Company evaluate coins for authenticity and condition. A 2018 D Lincoln cent graded MS-67 or MS-68 can already command a premium compared to face value, especially if it displays exceptional luster and eye appeal. Collectors today are increasingly interested in modern coins, particularly those that can be traced to specific die varieties or limited distribution anomalies. Unlike older coins where survival rates are uncertain, modern coins allow collectors to hunt through bank rolls and mint sets with real hope. Think about that for a moment. You could walk into a bank, request rolls of pennies, and begin a treasure hunt right at your kitchen table. But here's the key: knowledge separates ordinary coins from extraordinary finds. When examining a 2018 D Lincoln cent, use a magnifying glass of at least 5x to 10x magnification. Look closely at the lettering. Study the date. Examine the mint mark. Rotate the coin under light to catch subtle doubling or raised die breaks. Check the edges for irregularities. Compare your coin with high-resolution images of confirmed varieties. Patience is power in this game. Most coins you find will be common. That's reality. But every serious collector understands that rarity hides in plain sight. It's not about checking one coin. It's about checking thousands. Persistence multiplies probability. Modern coin errors have gained popularity on online marketplaces and auction platforms. Collectors appreciate the accessibility of contemporary finds. Younger collectors especially are drawn to coins they can realistically discover themselves. The 2018 D penny represents something larger than a single year of production. It represents the idea that opportunity is not always buried in the distant past. Sometimes it was minted just a few years ago. Now let's talk about copper composition. Since 1982, Lincoln cents have been struck primarily from a zinc core with a thin copper plating. This means modern cents are more susceptible to plating issues. You may find bubbles, blisters, or peeling surfaces. While minor plating defects are common and usually not valuable, dramatic or unusual errors can still attract interest. Storage is critical if you believe you found a high-grade or error coin. Avoid cleaning it. Never polish it. Cleaning destroys collector value instantly. Instead, store the coin in a non-PVC holder or a protective flip. Remember, the market determines value. A coin is worth what a buyer is willing to pay. Trends change. Interest grows. Awareness spreads. What is overlooked today may be highly sought after tomorrow. For those in the United States watching this, especially those between 30 and 65 who are looking for ways to build wealth creatively, coin collecting offers something unique. It combines history, patience, research, and the thrill of discovery that you're not just stacking metal. You're stacking knowledge, and knowledge can turn a single cent into a conversation piece, a collectible, or, in rare cases, something extraordinary. While most 2018 D pennies will remain common, documented rare errors and exceptionally graded examples have demonstrated that modern coins are not immune to remarkable price results, and in the most dramatic, pristine, and error-specific scenario, a 2018 D mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny has reached a market value as high as $76,737. That is the power of detail. That is the power of condition. That is the power of staying curious. So before you dismiss that handful of change in your pocket, take a second look. The next coin you examine could teach you something. It could sharpen your eye.